Hello everyone, I am Rajesh Ranjan, this side. Welcome to my channel Click Future. So on the demand of students of management, I am going to tell you something more about HR analytics. So students, we know that HR is a part of management. Okay, so what management says, okay, management is a science, okay, or an art. So what is science? A science is something that is based on experiments. A science is something that tells you about the facts and the data driven from the experiments. Okay. So unless and until you have certain scientific reason for something, you cannot say that particular entity is a science. Okay. So we study science, we see that how science is different from an art. So we say that management is an art also. Why? Because management is all about controlling people. People management is what HR does. So management and HR functions, they complement each other. Okay, HR knows that the management of people, the management of human resources is equally important to study as a science and as an art. Okay, so they evaluate the data on scientific basis. The science says, and it is adopted by the human resource nowadays in all the divisions, which is more of the data driven center, and that is based on the talent pooling and the resources that you are getting through the resume processing that you are entering into your databases. Okay, so earlier what people used to do, they used to enter the data in the register. They used to perform more of the manual things. Okay, but if you see that more of the things got transformed in the early of the 20th century, when people started realizing that working on paper is not going to give you the desired result and the outcomes that the organization wanted on a longer run, on a bigger perspective, and for obtaining the organizational goals. So research started in those areas, and what affected the employee behavior and performance in an organization, researchers started studying these areas. Okay, and they found certain tools that led to the creation of several evaluation methods like personal or personality assessment, cognitive function measures, or you can say work analysis methods that sparked the human resources to adopt these systems, these tools, these creations made by the academicians or the researcher to evaluate, to analyze their workforce and evaluate their performances so that the overall performance of the organization can be improved. So that was a challenge before that. Now in 60s or 70s, some of the organization, I mean 1960 or 1970 or 80 you can say, in a span of 20 years time, a number of organizations like GE Electric and IBM, they were the first of the organizations, those who adopted HR analytics. Okay. And we see that with the growth of computer era, okay, with the growth of computer era in the late of 20th century and the start of the 21st century, that is between 1990 and 2010, or you can say 2005, that is considered as the growth of the computer era and the adoption of the computers in almost each of the offices, each of the departments of the corporate sector, or you can say in almost all the corporate offices, people started using, each one of the employees started using computer. They were started getting the training, or they were trained in a particular segment. So HR also got the training of the certain things that was brought by the invention or the evolution of the computer, like the use of spreadsheets, the use of databases, or the simple statistical tools that HR started using, okay, in their day-to-day life, so that they could give the expected desired result to the organization by organizing the data, the human resources data properly. Now, the advancement with the use of data, okay, determines the work culture of the company. Okay. The performance of the company was evaluated on the basis of the performance of the individuals, and even the organizations, those who are viewing that particular organization, suppose a corporate level is viewed, a corporate sector is viewed, an organization is viewed by some of the authorities, by the parent organization. For example, UGC has an eye on the universities. So UGC see, or they have certain parameters to evaluate that whether the particular university or the college is following a set of norms or not. What is the behavioral aspects? What is the performance aspect? What is the growth aspect? What is the standard of that particular organization, institution, university, or college, whether they are meeting up to the expectation of the employees or not? And that is evaluated within the organization by that particular sector, okay, or the corporate, or the employees of the corporate, to be very specific, the employee of the human resources, okay, through the evaluation or the analysis of their employees, their workforce, whoever are working in that particular organization. And that can be achieved by analyzing the data of the human resources properly. So it is not that the HR analytics is something that HR is using only for the recruitment process, rather to see that the performance of the organization should direct towards the goals, towards the achievement of the quality, towards the inclusiveness, towards their own standards. To meet their standards, okay, every individual has to be particularly given the training, okay, they should be taken as, as a resource in the organization on the basis of the data that HR has. They evaluate that and they find out that this particular person or an employee needs a training or a development program specifically. Okay, so with the use of the spreadsheet, with the use of the data driven technologies, with the use of the computers, with the use of the talent pools, okay, and with the use of the softwares that organization has, like HRM softwares and HRIS, okay, they evaluate, they analyze the potentiality or the competency of particular person, and they see that this particular person needs certain training, or the performance appraisal thing, or certain feedings in themselves, so that they can be taken to a further next level and can be improved. So data is something that gives you a picture also about the employers, about the employee, what type of organization you are working in, okay, what is the standard of the employees in that organization, and what is the standard of the organization itself. So everything what HR does in the beginning, they create a pool of data on the basis of the employees that they recruit, and how they recruit, the processes that is involved in HR department with the use of the standard tools, the statistical tools, okay, their softwares, their analytical methods, how they evaluate particular resume or CV or a person, okay, that takes them to interview, then further selection, and create a talent pool of the organization that helps the higher authorities to take talent decisions. And once the talent decision is taken by the higher authority, it directly adds to the performance of the organization. And this is the way how the performance of the organization you see, okay, inside is something different, outside is something different. Everyone wants to portray something else, but nowadays nothing can be hidden. So again, the reason was again to have the data security, safety and privacy, to maintain that, because manual didn't give you that particular safety, security and privacy. So needed something that could be saved through a password. So people started using, HR started using the softwares, the HR started using spreadsheets, okay, the HR started using computerized method of saving the data and evaluating on the basis of particularly drawing it or downloading it from that particular area or point or the part of the website, or that particular segment of the website, okay, to keep and maintain the privacy along with the secrecy and the understanding that they have with the other employees and the employer. So HR is something a very different and very important aspect in an organization. Okay, human resource department is very important, and they are not going to be of anyone. They are neither of the employer, they are nor of the employees. They are neutral, they function neutral. So you have to be neutral. So with the growth of the machine technology, machine learning, artificial intelligence in the 21st century, you can say 2010 or 2015, okay, the organizations further started using the statistical method of evaluating the data. So more of the HR functions that were considered as administrative earlier got a change to a strategic functions. They were data driven, and on the basis of that, the main organizational goals could be evaluated. That what type of human tools, talent tools you have, okay, the entire talent pool you have. On the basis of that, the organizational goals can be achieved. Otherwise, if you have taken the cows and buffaloes in your organization, how the organization will create that particular environment so that the goals can be driven, the goals can be achieved. So manager sees that the talent has to be there, the talent pool has to be created in the organization, and that starts with the HR, how well they are organized. So HR analytics is something a systematic, okay, a scientific, a technological based representation of the data, analysis of the data and processing of that particular data to achieve the organizational goals by giving a talent pool to the decision makers. On the basis of that, the decisions are taken by the higher authorities, and further the organization involve themselves in training and providing the developmental activities to the employee on the basis of such data that is maintained electronically. Whenever it is required, they can retrieve it on a very faster pace, and it can be retrieved at any stage, at any place. If the department or the organization is abroad, they can retrieve abroad also. So the software has to be used, okay, it can be used, it has to be used, or it is to be used, it is getting used by the HR people, so that data can be retrieved at any corner of the world, and you have the actual figure, okay, of it at the same time with everyone. Hope you have understood the HR analytics concept. If you want more on that, please bring me the specific topic that you want to understand. More of the things I will be bringing in management. Keep watching my channel, which is Click Future. Thank you very much. This is Rajesh Ranjan. Please subscribe my channel.